This is Late Night Politics on Star FM, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene.
It's a Monday and it's time for Late Night Politics. My name is George Musumba. Ever since the liberation struggle in the 70s, university and college students have been part of the politics of the country. Student leaders have gone on to excel in public office and service. Dr. Witness Mangwende, Sobuza Gulandebele, Chris Muchangwa are just some of the names associated with student politics in the 70s. Fast forward to student politics after independence, and such prominent personalities cannot be ignored. Advocate Martin Dina, Nelson Chamisa, and Professor Arthur Mtambara, just to mention a few. Tonight on Late Night Politics, we are going to have a discussion on student politics and activism. Are the students of today politically conscious? What are their aspirations? And how can they become more involved in shaping the destination of the nation? To help us in this discussion, I have Zimbabwe College Students Union ZICOSU student representative, Comrade Petro Muchemedzi. Welcome to Late Night Politics, Petro.
Good evening, how are you?
Also in the studio is former University of Zimbabwe Vice President and current Zimbabwe National Students Union ZINASU spokesperson, Comrade Zivai Mhetu. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Perhaps just to put our listeners up to date, we will start by asking Comrade Mhetu, what is ZINASU? Who is ZINASU?
ZINASU is a student body which represents students in pursuit or in the realization of academic freedoms. ZINASU is non-partisan. It is the mother of all other small student unions which were formed either to counter the efforts of ZINASU. We are there for the students. We are there to represent them. We are there to ensure that students enjoy a friendly learning environment and academic freedoms are guaranteed in institutions of tertiary learning.
When you say, Comrade Mhetu, that there were other student bodies formed to counter, could you elaborate to counter ZINASU? Could you elaborate a little bit more?
ZINASU has been there and has been non-partisan. It had no limits when it comes to representation of students. If there are state functionaries who impede progress on students, ZINASU used to stand firm against them. And in this regard, the state had to form its counter union, which follows its instructions. And we had to see the formation of unions like ZICOSU and some small fly-by-night unions in an effort to counter the good work which ZINASU has been doing and is still doing. However, ZINASU has stood the test of time and is still reigning supreme in Zimbabwe, and the students, they know the genuine union which represents them, and that's none other than ZINASU.
Okay, let me bring in Comrade Petro Muchemedzi. Comrade Zivai Mhetu seems to imply that ZICOSU is a formation to counter ZINASU, and you cannot get rid of ZINASU. Tell us a little bit more about ZICOSU.
Good evening, Zimbabwe. Well, it's only a matter of choices. If you were listening very well, he was actually using past tense. He used to, it was. Meaning say, that was then. And now is now, and tomorrow by another day. ZICOSU is actually a board, a student board, which actually represents children, kids, students at the institution. ZICOSU stands for Zimbabwe Congress of Students Union, meaning that it is the voice of the voiceless. It is the cornerstone of the institution. It is the one and only that can stand for the rights of the children.
What is your relationship with ZINASU, if there is any?
Well, ZINASU, if I say there is any relationship, I would actually be lying. Well, kuti tita atidyidzane zvachose tingati kunyepa, because there are some situations where we have to unite as students, especially issues pertaining students. There is a moment that we actually have to unite as students as a whole and actually fight for one goal. So to say totally, there is no relationship, I would actually be lying. There is a moment where we actually interlink.
Okay, that brings me to my next question. Why two different student bodies, and where do you differ? I will come to you, Comrade Mhetu. Why two different bodies? Why can't you just work together?
Okay, I will go back to what I mentioned earlier on to say the first student body to exist in Zimbabwe was ZINASU, and ZINASU could represent students, and it could defy any boundaries. If there are state functionaries who impede progress on the students, ZINASU could approach them. And regardless of stature or opposition or anyone, ZINASU could confront fighting for academic freedoms. But now, because the state wasn't doing good to the students, especially because of corruption, they saw it fit that they should form their own student union, which take order from the state. And that's when ZICOSU was formed. So I am saying it was formed as a counter strategy to weaken the strength of ZINASU. However, it's a failed attempt because ZINASU has remained stronger regardless of the formation of the counter strategies in the form of ZICOSU. And to substantiate my argument, ZINASU has been winning and is still winning SRC elections across all institutions. I will explain later on the reason why ZINASU won the vice presidency at the University of Zimbabwe and not the presidency this time. But I have it on record that ZINASU is topping in institutions of higher and tertiary learning because students know that we have got only one union which is genuinely representing them.
Is ZINASU a pond where the opposition feeds from? Are you aligned to the opposition?
We are not linked to the opposition. When you asked me in the first place what ZINASU is, I told you that ZINASU is non-partisan. It's a non-partisan student body. In ZINASU, we have people from across all political affiliations. What we unite for is fighting for academic freedoms, and we don't do national politics in ZINASU. However, a student may be free to be affiliated to any political party of his or her choice, but when we are doing ZINASU business, we don't compromise it by including national politics.
I will come back to that point, but I just wanted to get back to Comrade Petro Muchemedzi and talk about why two different bodies. He's saying that you were a formation of the state in order to counter ZINASU. Why two? And you also said in the previous question when I asked, you said you do unite with ZINASU when it comes to issues to do with the welfare of the students. So why are you not part of ZINASU?
Well, actually, it's a matter of choices, right? If I remember very well, he said something about corruption. He said something about other parties like forming so that they can destroy ZINASU and etc. But actually, the main reason why ZICOSU is there, it was a matter of choices. ZINASU failed to fulfill what they would have promised to the people. So ZICOSU had to come in place to make sure that all those failures, they could be fulfilled. That was the main. That is the main objective, right? In having two bodies, it is a matter of choices. If one fails to do this, then the other one has to do that. That is what actually transpired here.
Okay, what are their failures as ZINASU that led to the formation of ZICOSU?
Well, they made promises to the students. They made promises, for example, to cater for the situations that are around the campus, maybe for students with disabilities. But actually, it was only a way of getting into power. But they couldn't actually fulfill those things, right? So therefore, ZICOSU had to come in place and make sure that all those things are actually. Some of the failures I'll actually highlight them more or as the debate goes on.
All right, that's fine. The program is Late Night Politics, and tonight we are discussing student politics and activism. Are the students of today politically conscious? What are their aspirations, and how can they become more involved in shaping the destination of the nation? And in the discussion, I have Zimbabwe Congress of Students Union, ZICOSU student representative, Comrade Petro Muchemedzi, as well as University of Zimbabwe, former University of Zimbabwe Vice President and current Zimbabwe National Students Union ZINASU spokesperson, Comrade Zivai Mhetu, and we are discussing student politics. Let's look at the membership in brief. How many? These are national organizations for students. How much is your membership, Comrade Mhetu, as ZINASU?
Before I could speak on membership, I would want to respond where my colleague said ZICOSU was formed because of the failures in ZINASU, and you asked him about the failures, and he said we failed to represent the disabled. So he said the failures, but now he only pointed one failure, which is failing to represent the disabled, which is not true anyway.
I said I will discuss some of those as the debate progresses. I was only highlighting, that is what we call a highlight, showing you what is to come.
So you will talk about, do you want to get it out of the way now, Comrade Muchemedzi, so that Comrade Mhetu will also respond later? Just highlight all what you term the ZINASU failures so that we move on.
Okay. There is the current issue of fees increment, right? If I remember very well, that issue, it actually started when ZINASU was in power. Then they just left the issue in hanging. They couldn't deal with it. Then there is the issue of disabilities, right? There are students who are disabled, but they use wheelchairs, but they failed to convince those in the higher positions to create
ramps,
and stuff, right? Then there is also the issue of the current learning materials, right? If I remember very well, when they are campaigning, they actually say, yeah, we want to make sure that we bring in new learning materials, better stuff and stuff. But actually, is this what they actually did? No, they didn't do that. Once they're in power, they are only busy spending students' money and stuff, especially on the issues spending student money. If I remember very well, there is this one other guy who was the previous Secretary General. He had to lash. It should be around $2,000, which was meant for students gathering, but he actually had to spend. He had to use the money for his own benefits.
He was in ZINASU. He was ZINASU
sponsored. He was a ZINASU sponsored. So these are some of the failures.
Okay, Comrade Muchemedzi is saying that these are just some of the failures that ZINASU has failure, unfulfilled promises and misuse of students' funds. You want to respond?
Yeah, I want to start by the issue of fees. In January at the University of Zimbabwe, I was the SRC Vice President, and the College of Health Science increased the fees by almost 100%. We negotiated with the Vice Chancellor and he didn't hear us. We mobilized students for a massive demonstration. After the demonstration, due to its intensity, the Vice Chancellor invited us to a negotiating table. We made it very clear to him that we had one position, that is the reversal of the fee increment. And my colleague here can confirm that the fee increment was reversed. We went on further to have a meeting with the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Professor Jonathan Moyo, who insisted that the fees were not supposed to be reversed, the fee increment. And we made it clear to him until he understood our position. And the fee increment was reversed. That is what we promised the students during our campaigns, that once you vote ZINASU into office, there will be no fee increment. But now, this time around, because we now have a president from ZICOSU, we have seen the same fee being increased at the same percentage. They had to hold a demonstration, but the Vice Chancellor never listened to them because they are same people. I'm now going to the second issue which he raised about disability. If I am to produce my flyer when I was campaigning at the University of Zimbabwe, on the flyer, the issue of ramps was there. That once you vote us into office, we will negotiate with the university authorities so that on the buildings which do not have ramps, they may be put. And the new building which was constructed, it has got ramps. So this is some of the achievements that we did. However, on the old buildings which are already existing, the Vice Chancellor hasn't yet put the ramps which we called for, and is something that is work in progress. I'm now going on the issue of that ZINASU promises a learning environment for the students, of which when they are in office, they talk of something else. We spoke of an improved Wi-Fi at the University of Zimbabwe. When we were about to write exams, we had problems with Wi-Fi because they were upgrading it. Courtesy of our call to convince the administration to improve Wi-Fi at the University of Zimbabwe, we called for the expansion of the library, and the library is being extended. We spoke about the garbage collection. Students were leaving bags in the corridors because the baggage was very small, and it was expanded. He can confirm these are the efforts of ZINASU. Then when we come to the issue he raised about $2,000, there is no money which was abused in ZINASU. We don't abuse students' money. Why? We have got a code of conduct which regulates how we use student funds. And if there is anybody who misused student funds, it was going to be in the public domain that so and so has been suspended from ZINASU due to abuse of student funds. And in our national executive, we are all intact. Nobody was brought to a disciplinary committee.
So you are not aware of the issue that has been raised by Comrade Muchemedzi?
That's why I'm saying, because we have a code of conduct, if there is a student from ZINASU who abused the student money, he was supposed to have been excommunicated, and the name of that person should have been in the public domain.
He said that it's the former Secretary General. There's no Secretary General in the past leadership who misused funds?
No.
Comrade Muchemedzi, you want to just briefly respond to that? He's denying that there was no Secretary General who abused 2,000, you say?
Let me tell him the name of the former Secretary General for ZINASU.
Just mention the position, because it is an allegation, I suppose. We don't want to cast aspersions when both of you are not sure of what's going on.
Okay, I want to make something clear before he could answer. The former Secretary General currently is in Norway on a scholarship which was offered because he represented the students very well, and he was never implicated in the abuse of funds. Had he been, he was not going to be offered a scholarship. Okay.
Can we close the case, Comrade Muchemedzi? Are you happy with his response? He's saying that there was no abuse of funds.
Okay. If I caught him very well, when he was saying, when he was talking about the fee increment, he said that the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education currently refused, right, to reduce the fees, right? The reason why he said that because we are actually allied to him, right? So therefore, if we take the issue of the misuse of funds, the previous Secretary General was actually aligned to them, meaning to say, if he was aligned to them, there was no way they were actually going to bring for disciplinary hearing. It is something that was within the board. So it actually means it's like family. There is no way we can actually put one of us on disciplinary hearing. So there is no way they could have actually done this. But actually, all the students, and I would say all the students who were actually who were actually supposed to go to that event, they can actually tell.
Okay, let's close this case. Just a short response, whilst Comrade Mhetu, whilst you tell us the membership, how many members are in ZINASU?
Okay, thank you. I'm about to tell you the membership. However, I want to make a correction. I thought he was referring to the Secretary General of ZINASU, yet he was referring to the Secretary General at the University of Zimbabwe that he abused $2,000. I want to make it clear that the Secretary for Legal in our previous executive was Chikona Mombe, who happens to be ZICOSU. So, had this Secretary General abused money, the Secretary for Legal, by virtue of being ZICOSU, he was supposed to institute legal corrections upon the Secretary General.
So there was no funds, Comrade Mhetu, which were abused?
No funds were abused.
Okay,
I was
let's
the vice chairman
and
the chairman of finance also. And in my capacity as the chairman of finance, I did not see any funds which were...
Okay, let's talk about membership now. ZINASU, how many members are in ZINASU?
We have got a membership which is in excess of 200,000. That is across all institutions. And our membership is evidenced by our victories in SRC elections. And as ZINASU, our funding is, we are self-funded. Our money comes from subscriptions from the students. And that we are able to fund our operations. We carry provincial discussion forums across all institutions. We do a lot of meetings. We sponsor SRC elections. All that money is coming from the student membership. And it shows that we are a very big organization.
Mm-hmm. And ZICOSU, your membership?
Well...
And funding?
Well, if I'm to actually give the actual number of the students who are in ZICOSU, I would actually be lying. But what you only have to know is that ZICOSU is more, and if I say more, that means they are in abundance, like the number of members as compared to ZINASU. That is all I can say.
So you have a larger membership than
as compared to ZINASU.
And he's saying that when it comes to elections, ZINASU dominates. If you have the larger numbers, why is ZINASU dominating?
ZINASU used to dominate. But currently, it is ZICOSU who is dominating.
That brings me to my next question. The current UZ president is from ZICOSU. Is there a seismic shift in politics at the UZ where someone says ZICOSU is aligned to ZANU-PF, has gained ground at the politics at the institution? Is there a change? Are people coming to ZICOSU now where previously they may have supported ZINASU?
Actually, people have always been supporting ZICOSU, but the main problem was our opponents, due to the stronghold, they would come and say that we are allied to ZANU-PF, right? But of which that is not the case. We are only there to represent students. Only. We are not allied to any party. We are only there to represent students.
You have no ties with the ruling party?
We are not allied to anyone. We only represent students.
Yes, because on Friday there was a press conference, and in the introductory statements, one of your leadership in ZICOSU, they actually saying we are aligned to ZANU-PF.
Well, it's actually, it only depends with how one would like to express, right? Because if you are allied to ZANU-PF, you have the right to say so. Right?
As they were representing ZICOSU.
That was a matter of choices. A matter of choices in words. Right? But as for the majority of the kids, they are only there to represent the students.
So you have no political affiliation as Comrade Petro Muchemedzi?
Well, I would actually I have. Yeah.
Okay, we'll not go into that. Comrade Mhetu, ZICOSU, the current president is from ZICOSU, and as I was just mentioning, and to Comrade Muchemedzi here, that ZICOSU is ZICOSU is aligned to ZANU-PF, and by choosing a president from ZICOSU, is there a seismic shift in politics that they use it, where the students now are more aligned to ZICOSU, which also follows that they are also aligned to ZANU-PF?
Okay. From what he said, he's saying ZICOSU is non-partisan, but the leadership had a press conference where they say they are aligned to ZANU-PF. Last year I had a TV program with a leader from ZICOSU who also confirmed that their mother is ZANU-PF and they take orders from ZANU-PF. Now it shows that it's a disorganized union. He has been appointed by the national leadership to come and represent ZICOSU here. He is saying something different from what the national leadership said at the press conference. This is clear evidence to show that the only one union in Zimbabwe which genuinely represents students is ZINASU. He is saying ZICOSU has no ties with ZANU-PF, but he can clearly confirm here that whenever they are holding their elections, there is the district leadership of the Central Intelligence. They attend the ZICOSU elections, and they actually give orders as to who should be the leader. He knows that if he wants to be honest and genuine, he can confirm that. I don't want to mention names, but it has been happening, and I've been seeing their vehicles coming on ZICOSU elections pertaining to the University of Zimbabwe.
Point of correction, we don't take orders from anyone. That is one thing for sure. We take orders from no one.
Can you answer me? Why do you invite the Central Intelligence whenever you are choosing your leadership, be it national or you are choosing candidates to represent, to participate in the SRC elections at the University of Zimbabwe? Why is it that the heads of the Central Intelligence comes and whatsoever they tell you to do is what you follow? Be honest.
Have you ever been in a ZICOSU meeting before?
Yes.
And you can actually say that they said today we are going to introduce, we are going to invite.
I know them.
So meaning to say that ZINASU has got traitors. They are traitors in ZINASU.
How can you attend a ZICOSU?
How can you attend a ZICOSU meeting yet you are a ZINASU member?
I said, I personally, and even my colleagues in ZINASU, we know such people. Remember, they are working for a public office. It's like knowing a policeman. Then you see a policeman coming to a function, and you know the policeman, and you know that there is such and such a function. It's not that I've been attending ZICOSU meetings whilst inside, but knowing that ZICOSU is doing its elections, say at what's the name of that hall near University of Zimbabwe? Then you see the heads of the Central Intelligence, their vehicles are parked outside. You see them talking to the students. You see them going into the building. And then the other ZICOSU comrades, they can definitely tell you that, these guys from the state, they need so and so and so to lead. So we can't fight against them.
These are allegations, mind you. Let's hear from Comrade Muchemedzi.
Okay. You are not answering the question. I asked you if you attend ZICOSU meetings. Then you said you do. My main question here is, if you are a ZINASU member, then you attend ZICOSU meetings. This actually shows that you are a traitor.
Let's move on. That question, you can always respond to it whilst answering the previous question, which I asked, that ZICOSU has taken leadership of the UZ students' body.
All right. That is not true. If I am to break down what happened at the University of Zimbabwe, you will see that ZICOSU is unpopular. And it's a
but they have the president
and
now.
It's a union.
Do we agree that the president is from ZICOSU?
It's a union which has been shunned by the students.
But the president is from ZICOSU.
What made the president to be from ZICOSU? I will explain it. In ZINASU, we had disagreements, and it had to split, and we ended up having 4 presidential candidates. And the first presidential candidate from ZINASU, he garnered 1,036 votes. And the second presidential candidate from ZINASU, he garnered 937 votes. And then we had another one who garnered 550 votes. Then we had another one who garnered 300 and something votes. So if we are to add all these votes, they will come to something like 2,800 against a paltry number of votes, which...
How many did the
1,400. The president of ZICOSU got 1,400.
So they were more united. Is this reflective? Because I also think this is reflective of national politics, where you have the opposition splitting into little groups. Why did ZINASU split? Is there no cohesion? Are you not bound by the same ideology and thinking?
We are bound by the same ideology and by the same thinking, but the problem we suffered is that of poverty. We are no longer getting grants. There is a fees hike, and the state is afflicting us with such issues so that they can find it easier to buy members of ZINASU into participating as independent candidates, which will then culminate into the loss of ZINASU. But had we been enjoying the grants, had we been having enough pay salaries for our parents that they pay our fees in time, there is no student who can then accept to be given a small amount of money and be encouraged to participate in elections as an independent
candidate. So there was vote buying. There was what? Students, some of your leaders in ZINASU sold out the struggle, so you say.
For material gain, I cannot say so, but this is what we alleged as ZINASU, because we were surprised as to how come our seasoned comrades, they are now talking of participating as independent candidates. There were no any grievances within ZINASU. It came to us as a shock. And we had only one reason to think that there might be a hand whereby they've been given something and then encouraged to attend as independent candidates. And that strategy worked. Like I told you, we have 2,900 students who were supposed to vote for the ZINASU presidential candidate. But because of this split vote, it then led the minority president to be declared the winner at the University of Zimbabwe. And the students are crying because with the coming of this ZICOSU president, we have seen the fees hike being restored. And despite the demonstration that was done, no action was taken because it's some kind of a stage-managed demonstration whereby the president is in liaison with the administration and the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, and they've got one common cause, that is to disadvantage the student community.
Comrade Muchemedzi, the current UZ president is from your organization.
Yes.
And Comrade Mhetu says there was deliberate buying or some of the student leaders in ZINASU were given incentives to stand as independents, thereby casting aspersion that the current ZICOSU president would not have made it. Your thinking on that?
Okay, if we as ZICOSU would have wanted the ZINASU members, we wouldn't have told them to campaign as independent candidates. We would have just told them to come and join our board. But the main problem here, as you can see, ZINASU is more like a toothless bulldog. That power it used to hold, as you can see, they are now crying of money to campaign and stuff. This is because they used to. It shows that they used to depend on vote buying, but because the coffers have dried up, they can't stand for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Tonight on Late Night Politics, we are discussing student activism, students in politics, and we are asking the question, what are their aspirations and how can they become more involved in shaping the destination of the nation? Are the students of today politically conscious? And to help us in our discussion, I have ZICOSU student representative, Comrade Petro Muchemedzi, as well as ZINASU spokesperson and Comrade Zivai Mhetu. He is also the former University of Zimbabwe Vice President. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned illustrious names, Dr. Witness Mangwende, Sobuza Gulandebele, Chris Muchangwa, Martin Dina, Nelson Chamisa, Professor Arthur Mtambara. These have come through from the students' movement. How political, what is the level of participation in politics among the students nationally, and how politically conscious are you as students? I'll start with you, Comrade Mhetu.
Thank you so much. Before I would come to the level of participation issue, I just want to make the record straight. That is, ZINASU does not do vote buying. But when we are to talk about the UZ SRC election, it is ZICOSU which provided vehicles ferrying students from their halls of residence to the polling station. And after ferrying them, they were being given $10 each. Some they were being given $5 each. Some they were being given chocolates, some were being given t-shirts. If you are to Google on the previous UZSRC election, we are going to find information that it is ZICOSU which was doing vote buying. And I also want to respond to the issue that you said the ZINASU scoffers are dwindling. I told you earlier on that we have got membership across the whole country and they subscribe to ZINASU, and that's where we get our money. It's quite unfortunate that we don't use our money for vote buying, but we use our money to do public discussion forums where we move across all institutions, gathering issues that affect students, and then we proffer solutions for them. Where you are also saying our coffers are dry, I want to make it clear to you that our coffers are not dry because we've got a lot of membership. Like at the University of Zimbabwe, I told you that if we are to add the number of students who voted ZINASU candidates who participated as independents, we are going to see that among those who voted, we have got 2,900, and we have got a lot of membership who did not manage to vote because we were towards exams, and some were not coming to school because they did not have money for transport. So I can safely say at the University of Zimbabwe, we've got the majority. Now I want to go to Chinhoyi University of Science and Technology. All the positions from the president to the list, they were won by ZINASU. Only the vice president is from ZICOSU, because when we are voting for a president at CAT, the person who garners the highest votes becomes the president, and the loser will be made the vice. And if it was not because of that system, ZICOSU could not have afforded even one person in the whole SRC. The only university where ZICOSU is leading is MSU. Why? They do electronic voting and they manipulate the system in favor of ZICOSU, since
who manipulates?
The university administration, they have got access to the passwords on that electronic voting. So
have you raised these allegations?
It is actually in the courts as I speak right now.
Okay, so we will leave it at that.
We will leave it.
Yes,
since we wouldn't want to. Exactly.
Yes.
And on all these other institutions, ZICOSU is not on the radar. It's just ZINASU, 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 ZINASU. So, with that evidence, it is very clear that ZINASU is well known. Let me now go to your question where you said the level of participation
yes,
of students
in politics nationally. Yes, because I told you, I mentioned some of the illustrious students who went on to hold public office. You know, your Dr. Witness Mangwende, Chris Muchangwa, Nelson Chamisa. What is the quality of leadership now in the student bodies?
We still have quality leaders, and this is evidenced by those whom you have invited to this platform. You cannot invite scrap. So, by inviting us, you have seen that there is promising leadership capabilities in these people, and they are worthy to say something on the national broadcast big enough like this Star FM. So we are the leadership who is being groomed to take part in national politics like those whom we have just mentioned. And I liked the list which you mentioned because there are student leaders who were absorbed into opposition politics, and there are also some who were absorbed into the ruling party. So like from here, I am from my own political party. He is from his own political party. And it's most likely that he's going to be absorbed into the political party which he might be affiliated to. And so do I. So we can safely say students are aware of the national politics or the dynamics of national politics which is happening, and as we play student politics we know where we are heading to. However, we don't put party politics in the running of the affairs of ZINASU.
But my question, Comrade Muchemedzi, is that are you students politically aware? Of course, you have your world within the campus, and so you abide and you are saying it's non-partisan, but are you aware of the broader political happenings in the country? And what is your reading of the current politics in Zimbabwe?
Well, this is pretty obvious, right? We do actually know of the national politics, right? The current situation. And the main reason why one would actually be aligned to ZICOSU or ZINASU, it is that zeal of politics, the love of politics, right? So students are trying by all means. They are trying by all means to go into the broader world, not just politics on campus, but also outside campus, right? So they might face challenges here and there, so that they will reach the climax. But in a way, students are actually trying to be involved in national politics.
Maonero enyu ekunze uko kuti kwakamira sei, muri kuona sei mimi muri kuZICOSU? Zvakamira politics dzakamira sei dzemuZimbabwe?
KuZICOSU currently politics ekunze anditika it is a little bit tricky because isusu we are mainly focusing on issues pertaining students on the campus.
But hamugari kamuvacuum. Zvinoitika kucampus zvinenge zvakontrolewa nezvinoitika munyika.
Can we say kuti zvinokontrolwa nezvinoitika munyika? Inini hangu, from my own perspective, we can't say kuti zvinoitika mucampus zvinokontrolwa nezvinenge zvaitika kunyika. Nenyaya yekuti zvoni ZICOSU ainei nezvinhu zvinoitika kunyika. Hainei nazvo. The only thing chairi kufocusa nacho is the issue yema students.
Herald reported on Saturday kuti makagunun'una nekuti Professor Jonathan Moyo, Minister wenyu weHigher and Tertiary Education, vakanga vataura kuti degree raGeneral Chiwenga vanenge havazivo vakarinyora. Ndo mabudiro azvakaita zvichiita. Ndiri kungotaura kuti seZICOSU imimi makabva mabudisa statement aonawo kuti zvinhu zvinoenderana here nezvinoitika munyika izvi pauri kuzoti hanzi aiwa isusu hazviri zvinoitika outside campus hatinei nazvo.
Well, pane the main issue yanga iripo handitika pakonzi degree general handitika havasiro vakarinyora handitika. Nyaya iri kuitika ndeyekuti if I remember very well, pane issue yekuti pari kungonzi zvoni this degree class harina basa, this degree rine basa, this one harina basa. So nyaya inenge iripo inyaya yekuti vada kungoedza kuhighlighta the issue yekuti no, let us not try kuda kudzikisira vanhu handiti ndo nyaya iripo.
Regai ndimubatsire mukomana wayo. PaUniversity of Zimbabwe inini zvangu ndiri kuZINASU ndinoziva kuti uyu ari kuZINASU, inini ndiri kuZINASU, uyu ari kuZICOSU, asi tinotaurirana sevadzidzi. Tichimboendawo kulanchi tichitaura nyaya tose kuSU kuya, vafana veZICOSU vachitaura kuti inini ndiri muG40, umwe achichi inini ndiri muLacoste. Vafana vakatotaura veZICOSU vachiti iwe Jonathan Moyo unongotaura nezvecommand agriculture uchisiya maissues emastudents. Vafana veLacoste then veG40 vane vachidi vachiresponda. Ende pama-elections eSRC akatoitwa pandambotaura kuti paizouyawo mamwe ma-state functionaries achiedza kushowa chidirection maissues eG40 neLacoste akatotaurwa futi ipapo kuti uyu maLacoste ndo anenge achawana more support than maG40, tinenge tichizvinzwa. Saka sevadzidzi hatisi kugara muvacuum, tiri kutoplaya part munational politics, ende sevadzidzi tiri kushandiswa nema-national political figures to push for their selfish agendas which have got nothing to do with the students. What will Lacoste or G40 do to improve the welfare of a student at the University of Zimbabwe? But now they are capitalizing on our poverty. Then ouya wochiti kuvadzidzi oye ma$10 oye ma$15 ende mdeta press conference lasha Jonathan Moyo iyi inenge iri ichi Lacoste oye ma$15 oye ma$10 ende ayo mundo responda mundo lasha wachi Amazon Mnangagwa. So as the students were being used vakuto divert attention yedu yekuti to fight for student issues takundo place kwachi dirty national politics. But as ZINASU tinoti no, what we are for is fighting for the academic freedoms of the students, whereby mamwe classroom immunities are no longer enjoyed by the students. Ukanyora your thesis ichita unveil some of the secrets dzinogona nge dzichitika in the state, ai approve iwi aupasi, unonyoreswa panyowani kana kuti unofoiriswa. And ma classroom immunities atinawo ayayaka anonetsa because mu class munenge mune a lot of characters dzeunenge uchiti why asingapedzi degree like munhu aita accounting achipedza uyu akupolitical science achipedza ari kuramba achingodzoka such suspicious characters dzinokukonzeresa kuti when you want to contribute in a class you won't be free. Saka isusu seZINASU tichiti we want to demilitarize the campuses. We need the state to assist us in demilitarizing my campuses. We don't dwell much in national politics. However, we are abreast with what happens in national politics so that we would translate it at a microcosm at our student level to see that kana kune ma-factions at the national level kwesusuwo panapa, how can we manage our own factions? Kana munyika mita ma-factions akadai, what might be in store of us in the future if it is like this?
Male and female participation, vasikana vari kuparticipate awo here mupolitics awo ndezvekungotukana kutungana kwevakomana. Uyezve tiri papo ma-aspirations, what are some of the aspirations enyu imimi ma-students? Takatarisa in the broader context of national politics, zvamunoda kuti zvibude zvamunomirira imimi, zvamunoda kuti zvigadziriswe chinangwa chenyu sema-students. Ndotanga newe Petro Muchemedzi seZICOSU.
Participation male and female. I think male students are participating more in terms of student politics as compared to girls. Girls, I think maybe it should be only one.
Havana in politics.
They are not that much involved in politics. Vanotya. Tingati kutya, yeah.
All right.
Fear of the unknown. What the word politics? They know about.
All right. ZINASU kwakamira sei? My aspirations and you say my youth, we have participation female and male zvakamira sei koko.
We are not happy about the participation of females in ZINASU. However, to improve the situation, we carry out what we call female student summits in all institutions where female students are taught to participate in leadership. And this has assisted us so much, and we are seeing the results. Right now at the University of Zimbabwe, the gender secretary is from ZINASU, and that happened due to the female student summits which we are doing. The previous election, we had the gender secretary also, who was from ZINASU, and in the next election, we are anticipating that we are going to have more female students in SRC elections. And in ZINASU National Executive itself, we have got 3 female students in our national executive, and we are working towards increasing the number. So we are making progress as ZINASU in seeing that female participation in elections improves. And
your aspirations as the youth students?
As the youths, I'm quite happy. We spoke with the national executive in the movement for democratic change. They gave us audience and they heard us. We requested that they give at least 20% of positions in the council and in the parliament. So they accepted. So the youths in the MDCT, they have got a 20% stake even in all government positions. So as the students, we were quite happy due to the breakthrough that we made. And we make this call to all the students who want to participate in national politics that you have got a place to occupy if you come to the movement for democratic change. I don't know, my colleague can also tell us if they made such...
In ZINASU is non-partisan, but why have you approached the MDCT?
I said earlier on, they gave us an ear. If you know...
Have you tried to get an ear from ZANU-PF?
We did not get an opportunity even to approach them. That's why I am asking him if they were also offered such, because in our failed
so
attempts,
you are aligned to the MDCT?
We are not, but we are saying we work with all progressive parties.
Okay, ZICOSU.
Well, I think as for the students who are actually listening, they can now tell for themselves who ZINASU is, who they are actually aligned to. And as you heard from my colleague, Movement for Democratic Change is their mother. I think that is where they actually get their advices and etc. As for the ZICOSU, mainly we are actually trying to bring out the best in students. We are letting students be innovative. They bring out ideas, right? Then we actually go to the VC. Then we actually tell them these are some of the ideas that we have as students, right? So what should we do? Then the VC is the one who actually gives us the ground. You have to approach this. You have to approach who? You have to approach who? If I'm not mistaken, our ZICOSU president, he has got this program, this project that is actually doing, right? The project, I won't say much about the project because it is more.
It is more political.
No,
okay,
not no, it is not political. The ZICOSU president is actually running a project, right? But the main aim of this project, it is actually to promote ideas from the students as a whole. So mainly it's ZICOSU, we are actually trying to be innovative as students.
Okay. Let's move on. Yeah, you will respond, Mhetu, Comrade Mhetu. Let's move on. 2018, it's a watershed election, and youth participation has been quite low in previous elections. We have not seen youth participating. Youths have not voted, and yet when we speak, we say the future belongs to the youths, to the young people. What are you doing for voter mobilization for 2018 as ZINASU?
As ZINASU, we are mobilizing students to vote in their large numbers, and we will never sit back and relax. And we have already started mobilizing students. We are using the social media, and we are using various methods. In some other places, we even go in person, encouraging the youth to participate in this coming elections in 2018, where he said I'm affiliated where he said ZINASU is affiliated to MDCT. It's not true. But as ZINASU, we represent students when they are still at school. Our representation also should assist students even when they leave school. So after leaving school, students have not been finding jobs. That is the reason why we are saying we are happy with the MDCT policy that is giving 20% of representation in government and parliamentary positions, council positions, and also if MDCT is going to win in 2018 in the government setup, 20% will be reserved for the youths. So that's why we are saying as ZINASU, our representation of students should not only end when they are at school, but we also look up to their welfare soon after school. We have also discovered that the youth constitutes the majority of people, of the population in Zimbabwe. However, their participation in politics is quite low. So there is a student council which launched the hashtag Mudzidzi Voter. They will be moving across all institutions, mobilizing students to participate in the electoral processes. And as ZINASU, we approached the Minister of... we approached the Registrar General's office, Mr. Mudede. We also approached Justice Rita Makarao and asked if they could put mobile voter registration centers in institutions of higher learning. We also asked the Registrar General if they could do mobile voter production centers in institutions of higher learning. Students are concentrated in one place. I give you an example of MSU, which accommodates in excess of 22,000 students in one place. So
just a point of correction, for voter registration you have to approach ZEC, not the registrar. The registrar will only facilitate IDs. So if you are going to have to ask for voter registration points, you have to approach ZEC.
We wrote a letter to Justice Rita Makarao asking if she could put mobile voter registration centers in institutions of higher learning. We also approached the Registrar General if he could put mobile production centers in institutions of higher learning so that a student can get an ID, and as soon as she gets an ID, then goes to ZEC at the same institution, because institutions are as big as constituencies. I give you an example of Warren Park constituency is got about 12,000 people who voted in the previous election, yet University of Zimbabwe has got 17,000 students who are located in one place. It makes more sense that these voter registrations should be set up in institutions of higher learning. Unfortunately, we haven't received a response from ZEC up to now.
Okay, all the best in those efforts to ensure that students get registered for 2018 as ZINASU. And as ZICOSU, what efforts are you doing in order to ensure that you mobilize voters, young voters?
Well, like they say, the future is in our hands, the young generation. So mainly ZICOSU has been trying by all means to mobilize the young generation to go and vote, because people they always complain, right? The system is pressuring us, but they are failing to go and vote. So as ZICOSU, we are going through social media. We have our Twitter handle where we are actually encouraging one another to go and vote. Then in situations like where we would have been invited, like should we say rallies or something like that, we will just go, right? Then we will talk with the young generation using the language that they understand. By using the language that they understand, then this is a way of persuading them to go and vote.
Your final words, Comrade Muchemedzi, time is run out.
Okay.
To the youngsters out there, to the young students.
To the young students, I would only love to say the future is in our hands. If we want a better tomorrow, we have to vote in the 2018 elections. And let us abstain from drug abuse. Let us abstain from drug abuse, because that is one thing that has been affecting us as the young generation, because we are failing to see the brighter future due to drug abuse. I think that is all.
Okay. Comrade Mhetu, as ZINASU, your final words. Time has run out.
To the students, our issues, we need grants. We've got accommodation problems, transport problem, food problems, tuition fee problems. Let us go and vote in our numbers. Let us go and register to vote in our numbers. Our solution is not in verbal complaints. Our solution is in the ballot. I thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for coming through to Late Night Politics. Tonight we were looking back and looking forward. We looked back at some of the student leaders who have gone on to excel in public office and service, such as Dr. Witness Mangwende, Sobuza Gulantebele, Chris Mchangwa, some of the names associated with student politics in the 70s. And we also moved and talked about Advocate Martin Dina, Nelson Chamisa, and Professor Adam Tambara after independence. And these are some of the student leaders who have excelled in their fields. And tonight on Late Night Politics, we were discussing the level of student politics and activism. Are students today politically conscious? What are their aspirations? And how can they become more involved in shaping the destination of the nation? And in the studio, I had ZICOSU student representative, Comrade Petro Muchemedzi, as well as former University of Zimbabwe Vice President and current Zimbabwe National Students Union ZINASU spokesperson, Comrade Zivai Mhetu. Thank you for coming through to STARFM.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Late Night Politics on Star FM, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene. Join us again next week, Monday, same time on Star FM. Tune in to Star FM every Monday night for Late Night Politics, brought to you by Star FM News and Current Affairs from 11 p.m. till midnight for riveting, engaging political discussions. Meet Zimbabwe's political players as they square off live on Zimbabwe's leading radio station. Your Monday late nights will never be the same again. Late Night Politics on Star FM, leading the pack and sounding good all the time. You've been listening to Late Night Politics on Star FM, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene. Join us again next week, Monday, same time on Star FM.